Relationships take time.
A very common request that's actually been written in by audience and people on my Instagram is the idea of a situationship.
Wait till you have your own children.
If they wanted to, they would.
That's where I would say this is my blind spot. You caught me.
Love at first sight.
Run for your life.
Serious talks about marriage early on in a relationship.
No, it's too risky. I would say nay to that one. Later on, it's yay if you get along well, and in between, it depends.
Reaching out to your ex-partner after and telling them that you miss them after you were the one that dumped them. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special guest and a very special topic to tell you about today. I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to discuss intricacies of dating, relationships, and cultural dynamics. Time to introduce my very special guest. Dr. Javed Sheikh is not only my beloved father, but also an internationally renowned professor of psychiatry, a medical executive, distinguished clinician scientist, and visionary leader in global academic medicine. Currently, he's the Dean of Weill Cornell Medicine in Qatar, also known as WCMQ. Under his leadership, WCMQ has flourished, producing graduates who stand as peers among the best in their fields, serving the world as the next generation of physicians. Before his tenure at WCMQ, Dr. Sheikh carved a distinguished career path as a professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at Stanford University School of Medicine and chief of the medical staff at the Veterans Administration Palo Alto Healthcare System in California. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Dr. Sheikh, who I refer to as Papa, has had the honor or trauma of being my dad for the past 27 years. Together, we'll navigate the joys, challenges, and complexities of love with a touch of wisdom from a father who's not only a medicine and psychiatry expert, but also about life. My dad has always been there for me with his wisdom and kindness, so I thought it would be great for me to share this experience with all of you. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's dive deep into a thought-provoking discussion of invaluable advice on matters of the heart. So please welcome Dr. Javed Sheikh. Thank you for joining me, Papa.
Sure, what a pleasure and an honor.
So let's start off with our first topic. Perceptions of dating. What do you feel about dating? I'd love to know.
You want to know about my perceptions or other people's perceptions?
I think your perception.
My perceptions? Well, you have to go back. As you know, I'm a student of history. I always go back. You have to go back all the way when the dating began, couple, 3 centuries ago, from what used to be arranged marriages, where people became a little bit more conscious of their own individual rights. So then gradually it developed. And as urbanization and globalization increased, the dating has evolved into something more modern, like we see now. Mm-hmm. But in traditional cultures like our own culture, it has not evolved the same way, although it is getting there. However, to my mind, we have kind of hybrid forms of dating going on at the same time. The family arranged, the individualized, the technology based, all of those going together.
You have a really interesting answer because you're bringing up how it's a hybrid now. So families are involved, but there's autonomy from the person who's getting the arranged marriage. And from my friends, I know that it's more referred to as assisted marriage because you have that seriousness of everyone being involved. So your time's not going to be wasted, but there's this safe space for both people to get to know each other. So I really think that there's nothing like it. And it's interesting because there's even culturally specific apps for dating. So you can find people from your own culture. So I would say that, life's really changed for the better, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes in the dating world.
Yeah,
But
because the thing which you're forgetting is that even though technology is there, all the methodology is there and sounds wonderful when you're talking about it. However, we remain human beings. So when people get together, when they don't know each other, the emotions, feelings take over and they are back to their normal self. And things don't work out as planned on paper. So that's okay. It's exciting.
okay. So, okay, I have a question now. That was a very good answer that you gave from your perspective. Now, as a father, what's your perspective on dating?
Now you're gonna make me nervous.
Yes,
So
that's the plan.
that's the plan. All right. So as a father, my feeling is you really need to do a little bit of homework, which is why do you want to date? What is the purpose? What's the objective? Is it to find a romantic partner? Is it to eventually find someone who one wants to get married? Is it to find a friend that one can talk about different issues? That kind of thing. So, or companionship. I think one has to clarify, in my opinion, as a father, my advice is to be clear in your head in general uh, why you're dating a particular person.
Go ahead. Okay, that's interesting. So another issue that a lot of people talk about, amongst my friends on Instagram, all of our social media platforms, is actually the paradox of choice. So in the wild world of dating, the paradox of choice reigns supreme because too many options can leave us paralyzed. You're swiping left and you're swiping right and your thumbs ache. So what are your thoughts on too many options on these dating apps or, in big cities? Can it cause dating fatigue?
Well, I think you described it very well. That's a paradox of choice. And by the way, that has happened in other areas also. For example, let's just look at food. It did not used to be that abundant 50 years ago. Now you go to your brunches and this and that, you have 50 dishes and you don't know which one to choose from. I think similar kind of thing is happening with in terms of way too many choices in dating. And yes, it is a paradox of choice for multiple reasons. One is very obvious one to me is that people once they start looking at choices, they do not want to miss out on anything. So the biggest is this FOMO or fear of missing out. And that is something which makes them go again and again and again looking for more and more and more. The other thing is, unfortunately, that's the other thing, which is very much where your biology comes in, that as we anticipate good things, rewards, the dopamine in the body increases. And you keep on looking for another one and you get even more excited. Keep on looking for another one, you get more excited. The bottom line is the more you would do that, that becomes an addictive behavior. You lose the primary purpose of why you wanted to date. So it is a paradox of choice. And I think one has to set up boundaries again on oneself and be very, very aware of this paradox of choice, as you call it. Yeah.
Wow, that scientific answer really has helped me to sort through this. I'm definitely going to think about this tonight. But I want to be devil's advocate here. There's the opposite side, right?
Yeah.
Where's my Mr. or Miss Wonderful? Because sometimes in the daunting journey of finding Mr. or Mrs. Wonderful, the struggle is real. You have too few many options that are actually good, and that can leave us questioning, does the perfect match even exist?
Well, then I'll take off my scientific hat and let me just put on my dad's hat and actually bring on the hat of wisdom. Mr. Perfect does not exist. That I can assure you. You'll have to find immortal who has many good qualities and some not so good qualities and work on him over a period of time where you and him kind of meet in the middle and it becomes a match which actually makes you happy, which gives you satisfaction that you're talking to someone who actually is also a friend and potential mate. So my feeling is don't even think about Mr. Perfect or Mr. Wonderful. They don't exist. That is actually a setup for disappointment. And this is more along the lines of wisdom, not as much the biology.
I love that. So, all right, now we've established that these things either exist or don't exist. My next question to you is purpose. What do we think of dating in terms of purpose? Why do people date? Why do you think it's important to date? A little bit of your field research would be appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'll go back to what I said initially. I mean, it truly is very much individualized. Everyone has to decide why they are waiting, why they're dating, and it can be to find a potential mate. It can be to find a romantic partner. It can be to find a very good friend. It can be to find someone one can spend some time and talking. It can be fun. It could be for having just fun and companionship. So it could be multiple reasons. I think everyone has to decide their own. Yeah, there's no all-inclusive purpose of dating. There's no question. It'll be very much like a broad diet, which will lead to then what we have in the US, the standard American diet, which is, as sadistes, quite sad. So that's what will happen if one goes to dating thinking of a broad umbrella which will cover everything. No, you have to make it individualized.
So I have to say, I'm pretty surprised that the one word that's coming to my mind after all of your wisdom is patience. I think my generation needs to practice patience with themselves when it comes to dating and really invest in these different experiences because I mean, it seems like if we invest in these experiences and allow ourselves to understand things, we might be 1/16th as smart as you with our wisdom.
I think
One can
you,
hope.
I think you are much smarter than I am, and what you just said. I mean, listen to you. You actually put the finger on the issue, which is lack of patience. But I would not say that your generation is at fault or anything like that. I think these days it is very hard to be patient. I myself, who grew up with books, I actually can't have the patience anymore to read books because we are so getting so used to quick, constant stimulation with this cell phone and looking at multiple digital media and social media. It's very hard. So I think it is very hard to be patient these days unless you very consciously start working on it. But what you pointed out, unless you have the patience, unless you have a clear objective, uh, it's not going to happen. Relationships take time. And now I'll just go back to biology again. The culture has changed. It has become accelerated, everything. But our biology has not changed. The deep attachment behaviors, deep relationships, they take months and years to develop. So that's where your friends and your generation need to be mindful of.
Very, very interesting. Well, I think this next question is going to be great for everything that we've spoken about. So, we think about dating in the sense of hybrid and how things are evolving. A very common request that's actually been written in by audience and people on my Instagram is the idea of a situationship. So I'm going to explain that to you. As per Urban Dictionary, the definition of a situationship is as follows. So a relationship that has no label on it, like a friendship, but more than a friendship, but not quite a relationship. And I'm going to add on by saying that usually one person has the upper hand, one person sets the terms. So it almost feels like half of a relationship with full expectations. So from a physician perspective, how do you feel like this can affect our psyche and overall self-esteem? What are things that we need to look out for when it comes to these situations?
So the way you describe this situation or
Situationship.
situationship, yeah, it seems to me there's a potential for creating even more confusion. So you were talking paradox of choices. Something like this, which seems very ambiguous, and I'm not actually saying that it's all negative. Probably it has positive qualities, but it sounds like it will require even more maturity and clarity and patience to deal with it. Otherwise, it'll add even more to the confusion. So that's just in the last few seconds that you explained is based
Yeah.
on that. That's my response. So I would be careful. I would be mindful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to situationship, it's under the mindset that if you tell someone, okay, we don't really have the set barriers of a relationship, it's almost like you're lying to yourself and thinking that you'll be able to detach more easily. But I think that if you're still entering something, as you said earlier, our biology is the same. So attachments are real. Everyone also has different attachment styles. Maybe one person can cut easily away from the situationship. But at the end of the day, it's still a relationship because
It,
we have dynamics with our friends. We have, dynamics with romantic partners and our family. So you can't really just put a soft label on something and then anticipate that the effects won't be as severe. At least that's my
yeah. Yeah.
very strong opinion on it.
And I tend to agree with you. I think just labeling something differently does not change that. So I think what you just said was very wise. You
Thanks.
are dealing with the same biological mechanism. So just calling it situationship versus dating versus something else, you still have to deal with the same basic emotions, same basic needs, and the same process. Yeah.
Accountability it's a problem sometimes, isn't it? Just being an adult is so tough.
Tell me about it. Wait till you have your own children.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, on that note, a lighter game we can play. So we're going to move on to our next segment and we're going to call it yay, nay, or it depends. So if it was up to me, I would just say you're a yay or nay, but since we have such a wise, nuanced psychiatrist here, I have to have the depends. So in this segment, Bappa and I will answer some common dating concerns and, me for the first time, I'll also see what my dad thinks about these concerns, and I guess he'll find out what I think too.
I'll do my best not to come across as a curmudgeon old fashioned, okay?
I can't.
I'll try to be modern.
Okay, I'm sure you'll succeed. So right in front of us, we have the signs. Just have them, spread out a little bit for your
Okay.
ease.
What do we have?
So I will read out the different prompts, and then you can, pick which sign that you like and hold it up, and then give your explanation. Okay?
Okay.
Are we
Okay.
ready?
I guess we are.
Okay. So, a man always pays on the first date. Yay, nay, or it depends.
That's easy. I say yeah on that one.
Same.
And I'll tell you why I say that. I say that because, again, modern culture, there are so many confusions. So, last thing you want to do is to not decide beforehand on something which can be confusing. Money methods are very confusing in multiple ways. So, let's just take it as a rule man pays the first date.
Love it. Love that
Simplify.
answer. I agree. Okay. So, this is another colloquial expression that's going around Gen Z and millennials. It's very popular on platforms such as TikTok. So, the phrase is if they wanted to, they would, which means if a person really liked you, if someone wanted you back, they would reach out. So, is it yay, nay, or it depends?
I would say, unfortunately, it depends on that one. And the reason I say this is because I think we need to remember humans are not like computers. We can talk very logically. Our behaviors don't always follow the logic. We'll say one thing, we'll behave completely differently. So it depends on the situation. That's what I would say. Yeah.
I wish I had as big of a heart as you, but I say yay. If they wanted to, they would. I just don't have time for your confusion, That's just not me. But I guess you have a more mature answer. Okay, next one. My money is my money, and your money is my money. Thoughts?
Well, as a daughter, you can say that, and I have no problem. I hear that. Yeah. As a daughter, of course. As a father, I say, do it, go for it.
Yeah, okay, that was easy. Okay, housework. So should it be divided? Is it on one individual? What are, thoughts on this? Realistic thoughts.
So you can educate me more about that. I would say I am lazy when it comes to homework, and yes, there needs to be a lot of discussion. That's where I would say this is my blind spot. You caught me. Huh?
So for me,
So
I think it depends.
this will save me.
Yes,
It depends.
it'll literally save you.
You're right.
So
Right.
it depends because obviously each relationship has their set dynamics. So I think this is not something that we can give an explicit answer on. We're going to take the Switzerland route and just be
Well, thank you for saving me
diplomatic.
because I thought you nabbed me there
No,
for
I
a
won't.
while.
Not yet, not yet. Okay, so love at first sight.
Run for your life because that is like house on fire.
Yeah.
So I would say nay. Even if something positive comes out of that, ultimately, the risks are very high. That means you're just not thinking.
And we don't want that.
No.
Okay, so double dating. Your thoughts on double dating with friends and stuff?
I think it depends on how good a friend is. If you have known the friend for a while and the two of you are comfortable, then it could be very positive. In some ways, it can add to a feeling of security and comfort. But if the friend is a new friend, then it will add a variable and probably will add to anxiety. So it depends. I would
Yeah.
say it depends on the situation, on how well known the friend is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. I do think it depends. I think it can either really help with your anxiety and you can feel comfortable and it'll allow you to be yourself. But if you're so focused on balancing the needs of your friend and your date, just go home. I don't think you should go on that date. Okay.
We agree on that one.
Yes. Surprise romantic gestures.
I would say good idea. I say yay. Yeah, good idea.
Yay. Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement. I think it's important to see, what your partner's into, and something that's really popular in our generation is love languages. So each person, it might be like acts of service, quality time, gifts. So it just really depends on what the person is into.
Yeah. Doing acts which are positive in a surprising fashion, I mean, that increases dopamine level just like a reward. And the people will appreciate that. Yes, I would say yes.
So this one is going to be a tricky one. I can feel it already. Serious talks about marriage early on in a relationship.
No, it's too risky. I would say nay to that one. And the reason very simply is again, people will take their own different time, different pace in terms of getting to serious topics. So some people might get there much faster than others. The other person might not. So chances are it will create a conflict, especially initially in a relationship.
Is it bad that I'm like, it depends because my trust issues? But I see where you're coming from. I
Well,
think,
I can see also
yeah.
where you're coming from. I did not want to give that answer because I thought you'll criticize me for always saying it depends. So I thought, let's say no.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, I appreciate that. So, all right, now, keeping a realistic strategy when it comes to dating. So, putting all of your eggs in one basket. What do we feel about that?
Well, okay. So the thing is, I would say I would give the answer that it depends. When you say putting all of your eggs in one basket, are we talking about the beginning of the relationship, middle of the relationship, deep into the relationship? At some point, you have to put your eggs in the basket, in the same basket. However, right in the beginning, no, that's not a good idea. Then, right in the beginning is nay. Later on, it's yay if you get along well, and in between, it depends. How's that?
Okay, that was such a good answer that I can't even top it because he covered all three. What am I supposed to do? Argue with him? I
No,
don't think so.
you can argue.
No, but I think once again, referring to my generation,
Yeah.
it's more of us being like, you don't want to get played in the talking phase before we call it DTR, define the relationship. So before you DTR, you don't want to get played where it's like you're out here like dreaming of picket fences
Yeah.
and like the partner's like G to G bye,
Yeah. So that I would trust your judgment because this is a situation did not seem to occur very frequently in our days.
Yeah. Okay. And the last one, this is a controversial, spicy one, but I thought, why not? Okay. Reaching out to your ex-partner after and telling them that you miss them after you were the one that dumped them.
Why would you want to do that? I mean, are you talking about when you are already in a new relationship
I mean,
or
no, just
no?
like as in you've dumped them, and
Yeah,
so you could be in a new relationship. I guess
right,
you could still be single because a
right,
lot of people sometimes do that. They like break up with someone,
right,
and there's those residual feelings.
right.
So it kind of crackles down to, do they notify their partner that they still miss them,
Yeah.
or do they just understand that this behavior is toxic and they should keep to themselves?
So I would say think of two, three steps ahead. So let's say if you reach out to them and say, I miss you, and they then want to come back, would you take them back? And let's say if you take them back, then after two, three more dates, they are back to the same patterns, and both of you are the same patterns in the same conclusion. Then ultimately, what did you gain other than heartache and irritation at each other? So I would say I'd be very careful in doing that. I would think through it as to why I'm doing it, not the feeling. Feelings are there, natural, normal, all kinds of feelings, no question about it. It's the difference between the feelings and the actions. So, as part of maturing, as part of adults, you have to make sure you think before you cross that gap. Or the old saying, think before you leap. It's easy for me to say now, but actually it is true. Feelings and actions very distinct, so you have to be careful.
It's a no from me. So that's my thing. You gotta
I guess I
just,
said that.
yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna pull up some famous quotes of you. So be ready. And
I
I
am
have
in
it on
trouble.
camera.
Yeah.
So now this is documented. So one of your famous quotes is, dating advice from your parents should be taken with a grain of salt.
And I agree. So all of what we did in the last few minutes was obviously for naught. So don't take my advice. You know, any person, I would say, even a dear friend or your parents, because they have very strong feelings about you, they might have biases, multiple kinds of biases. So you have to think through it and not take the advice as it is. Just think of a particular topic. If you're asking them, you know them quite well in terms of defining what kind of bias they might have. So think of that, and then take it once you have reminded yourself where they're coming from.
Got it. I'm gonna make a separate clip of this conversation and just keep it. You know what I mean? All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that a lot of people don't really want to address, but I think it's very important, and I am sure you'll agree with me, is conversations regarding kids, rituals, money, food, house care, and get your perspective on that when it comes to a relationship.
Well, as relationship gets serious, you have to address all those. Yeah, that doesn't mean you have to come up with agreed upon solutions, but you have to touch on all of those as relationship gets serious. So the answer is yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'm in agreement with that too. So, another fun saying, I think this is more common in our part of the world, in South Asian culture, but I do think it's becoming common all around the world, is that, when you're marrying someone, you're not just marrying the person, you're marrying their whole family.
There's a lot of wisdom to that. Even though extended families are not as common as they used to be, when I was growing up, I would still say that sooner than later you will, let's say if you get married, you will be interacting with multiple family members of the other person. So, yes, I think you have to keep it in mind. That does not have to be the primary thing, but it has to become part of the equation. In our days, it was the primary factor.
That is true. I
Yeah.
mean, you guys didn't even have a choice. But I think about it from time to time, and I see that few people still understand that there are many benefits of an extended family. For example, if you are having kids and you need childcare, your extended family can help out. Or if you have other siblings and their spouses that have children in your age group, you guys can each help each other out. So I really do think that there's a lot of wisdom to be said about these
There
things.
is no question about the single most important negative factor in modern society, particularly in Western culture, is the loneliness. In traditional cultures, it's the other way around. You can't get away from the extended family members. The balance is somewhere in between, but definitely, if extended family has a lot of benefits.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered a really good amount of topics.
Okay.
So I'd love to hear from you. What's a little TLDR, too long didn't read, a little one sentence summary of our conversation. What do you hope to achieve from this? Because I know what I hope to achieve.
Well, as a father, I'm hoping that you act on your own wisdom. You are a very wise young woman, and that's all I'm hoping. Beyond that, it was a very good dialogue, and I hope we continue to have that kind of dialogue. It was banter, it was dialogue, some parts of it was serious, others not so serious. So I hope to continue having the conversation with you,
I'm
as always.
That's true. I'm honored. So thank you. But I just want to kind of piggyback off of this lovely statement.
Sure.
And I want everyone to feel comfortable in talking to their parents about these things. I don't think that there are things that we should be shy about. And, our parents love us, so they always want to guide us to the right thing. And if we make it digestible for one another, I think dating can be pretty pleasant. So
Thank you for that vote of confidence in your dad.
maybe I have now this is on camera too. So, well, anyways, thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure, true pleasure.
And that's a wrap, folks. So thanks for tuning in to our father-daughter dating video. We hope you enjoyed our banter, insights, as much as we enjoyed sharing them. And remember, love may be complicated, but with a little laughter and a lot of heart, anything's possible. Until next time, stay true to yourself, laugh at life's little curveballs, and don't forget to comment, like, subscribe to all of the links listed below, and stay fabulous.